Everyone, hello. I think we should be live. Hello, everyone. So my name is Kalina. For those who don't know me, and we'll be starting this webinar in a couple of minutes. So yeah, feel free to grab a cup of coffee, tea, some nice drink, and see you in a bit. And again, official welcome. Hello, everyone. I think hopefully everyone has their drink already and everyone is ready for today's session. I see already so many people joining in, which is great. Hi everyone. Also nice to see some familiar faces. For those who don't know us, we are Relay 42. We are a customer data platform. And my name is Kalina. I'm the brand and comms manager here at Relay 42, and I'll be your host at today's session. So today's webinar, as you can see from the title, we're going to be talking about customer data platforms. We're going to be diving deep into CDPs, and we're going to be talking about how all the different technologies are similar, how they differ, and hopefully in the end, we'll give you the tools so that you can actually see for yourself, for your own business, what makes sense for you in terms of a CDP and where should you be, looking at, and what will be the most beneficial technology for your own business. We're going to be doing a deep dive, and we're going to be having lots of insights. So feel free to take some print shots, but also know that we'll be sending this webinar recording afterwards, so you won't miss anything. So without further ado, I would like to welcome our speakers on stage today. Hello, I already see everyone joining in with video and audio. So we are super happy to have two of our most experienced experts here at Relay 42. We've got Richard Hamlyn. He's the VP Solutions Engineering here at Relay, and also CDP and CMS Solutions Consultant and Expert. Hi, Richard.
Hi, Kalina.
Hi, nice to see you.
And you too.
Likewise. And co-presenter today is Anthony Botibol. Anthony is the head of marketing here at Relay 42. And Anthony has been in the CDP business from the very beginning. I think, Anthony, you've been here from the start, and you know a ton about CDPs, and it's super exciting to have you here. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Kalina. Hello, everyone.
So just before we start, a few practical details. During the whole webinar, we're going to be having the chat open. For privacy reasons, the chat is private, but please feel free to write your questions. We all are going to receive them, and we're going to answer them in the end of the session. All right, so the agenda for today. As I mentioned, it's a packed agenda with lots of insights, lots of information, starting with a bit of an introduction to CDPs. So starting with the evolution of customer data platforms and what we call the ongoing search for a single customer view. Then we're going to talk a little bit about composable CDPs, which is this new category, and why is it important to compare apples to apples. Then we're moving into talking about why evaluating CDPs is so hard. It is actually really hard. And then towards the end, we're going to present a framework, a customer data excellence letter, which really is a toolkit that we want to share with everyone. And we believe it's going to be very beneficial for all marketing teams. And before we close, we're going to handle the questions. So again, feel free to write them down in the chat. We'll take them in the end of the session. So with this, I think we can start, and I'd like to invite Anthony to kick it off, presenting the evolution of CDPs.
Yeah, thanks, Kalina. Hearing me okay? Just want to check. Thumbs up. Okay, great. So yeah, I'm going to start with the evolution of customer data platforms, and as Kalina said, this kind of continuous search for the elusive 360 single customer view. So yeah, that's where we're going to start. And in its simplest terms, when we invest in marketing technology, there are, I believe there are three fundamental layers to think about. So starting at the bottom, you've got the data layer. So this is where all the customer data sits within your business, many different systems and platforms. Could be personal data, but also, event data, clickstream data, whatever that data is, tends to sit in many different systems. We then have in the middle the decisions layer. So the decisions layer is where we as marketeers are making decisions about the creative, the offer, the audience, what those next steps are if they do click on an email, etc. So all those decisions we're making about the customer experience. And then at the top there, you've got the delivery layer. So this is where the actual experience is delivered to the customer. So that could be, them receiving an email, a text message, notified through the app, even a personalized website visit, or actually maybe an in-store experience as well. So these are the three fundamental layers. It's a simplistic view that I want to focus on today. And I'm going to kind of take you through a timeline of different technologies. So this first one is what I call the pre-2013 marketing database years. So this is, I'm kind of simplifying it down, right? So these three databases that you can see in the data layer, they're really meant to represent three different channels or systems within the business. So if we think about the one on the left-hand side, if I just animate that. So on the left-hand side, this represents our email marketing platform. So the email marketing platform has an underlying database, storing names, email addresses, the history of, sends, opens, clicks, what device they're opening on, the browsers, etc. And in that email marketing platform, you're then making decisions about the email. What's it going to look like? What's the subject line? When are we going to send it? What are the next actions going to be if they do click or they don't click? So these are all the decisions that we're making in the email platform, and then we obviously deliver that email to the customer and deliver that experience. So if I move on there, this now represents what I call a sort of siloed state within a business. So you've got the email channel, we've got the data, we've got the decisions and the email. We've then got the e-commerce. So again, the e-commerce, we've got data residing beneath that. We're making decisions about the web experience, and then customers are visiting and having that experience. And then we have direct mail on the right, because it's pre-2013, right? So we all did direct mail back then. So now this is simplistic, but what you'd actually see is this actually happening across maybe 20 different databases. So the problem was much worse than this. But we as marketeers, despite this, if you look at this, ultimately the delivery customer experience is going to be disconnected because everything is siloed. But as marketeers, we do want to be personalized and we do want to be multi-channel. So even if we are in this state, we'll be doing whatever we can to try and make sure that we do deliver a joined up experience at the end. So what we would have within a business is something called ETL, which you can see at the bottom there. So ETL, extract, transform, load. And that's really about getting data from one system to another. So a simplistic example for an email might be that today, on Friday, we want to deliver an email to all our latest new purchases in the last 7 days. Now, the email system doesn't have that information in it. It doesn't have knowledges of purchases in the last 7 days. So what you would need to do is take the purchases, extract the data out of the e-commerce platform, extract the data out of the email platform, join them together, maybe using an email address, map the transactions onto that data in any way that you need to, and then load back into the email platform. And then your email going out today will actually, go to all those latest purchases. So although that's quite simplistic, that is actually a real situation. And I think, any marketers on today will have experienced some of this themselves. And that ETL could be automated. It could be IT or, building some scripts and automating some of this for you, semi-automated. Or it could actually be, in a lot of cases, a bunch of humans actually doing a lot of this work. So highly inefficient, but obviously trying to do the best job we can. And then you would actually see data warehouse in these in businesses as well. That's really for sort of business-wide analytics and insights, but certainly back then not really ever workable for marketing. And so here we go. So the marketing database, marketing teams would go out and speak to, say, a marketing services provider or a database bureau and invest in what is ultimately an SQL relational marketing database, sometimes called a single customer view solution back then. So, and that would really sit between the data and the decisions layer, as you can see in the my diagram there. And this really removed all of that inefficient ETL processes that were going on, whether that's humans or IT doing things for you. It would apply data processing rules to be able to join up that data and start to create profiles that could be then used within your channels. I think, it was data processing back then. We call that identity resolution these days. It's a bit of a funkier term, but similar thing that you're trying to do there. And the only thing I'd say about these databases is that there was no user interface on these. It was a bunch of clever SQL programmers building lots of scripts and schemas and data processing rules to kind of create something that was quite bespoke, very expensive, very long project. But ultimately giving marketers what they need in terms of a sort of unified single customer view. Plugged into the channels, you're obviously starting to kind of be able to perform higher order personalization through that. These were not tools that would work very well with digital data though. So I think these tools were sort of built for very much for known customers and for direct marketing. And because of the fact that there was no user interface on that database, so represented now by that kind of bigger human brain there, you would actually go invest in a multi-channel campaign management solution, or maybe we'd refer to that as a marketing cloud today, perhaps. And that would actually sit on top so that marketers could actually work with that data. Remember, there's no UI on the user interface on the marketing database. So this allows you to mine the data, create your segments, and would connect to your channels as well. So you then essentially have unified data and unified decisions, and getting to the point where we can actually personalize across channels in an efficient way. And then, as I said, not really built for digital data, but to be honest, back then that was okay because DMPs were coming onto the scene, and we could leverage those for all the cookie data and all the digital event data that was starting to explode before us. So what you're left with at this point is that you've got a data warehouse sitting somewhere in the business where IT is sort of, it's usually an IT project, it's a data repository, but, as applicable for HR analysis as much as it is for customer analysis. So really a repository there that would give you business-wide insights. You then have the marketing database or the single customer view, so that gives you that unified view. It's giving marketing a lot of help. It's getting rid of all that inefficient ETL process, but really for known customers. They were really built for known customers. So I'd say that's really about known customer insights. And then you have the DMP, and the DMP was all the cookie data, all the event clickstream data that's happening, and that's really therefore was for prospective customer insights. So that's where we were sort of pre-2013. And then it was 2013 when CDPs really exploded onto the scene. And at that point, they had a core remit, which was to ingest customer data from any source, unify it, and then make that data available to whatever channels or other operational systems need it. But also, importantly, these were meant to be usable by non-technical business users. I kind of should put that in quotes really, because that is something that is meant to be part of the CDP definition. So these, if you think about this point, digital data is all around us. There's more channels, as seen in the diagram. There's more data silos, and so the whole headache of ETL got even worse for IT teams or businesses that are trying to do good personalized marketing. So that was the challenge, right? And so when CDPs came along, that was really with that remit to just focus on the data layer. They were great for that. So the ETL processes go away, and you've got a CDP there that will get rid of all those problems. However, if you notice, what we've actually got is that we're still outputting segments of data to multiple different channel systems. So although we have a unified data layer, we're still in a siloed or disconnected decisions. So we as marketeers trying to be joined up and personalize and create that connected customer experience. Yes, we're doing better, because we're using a single customer view, we're using better trustworthy insights to create our segments and our campaigns, but we're still making decisions in many different places. So that really was, part of the challenge. So, again, you might look to a marketing cloud to fulfill that. But if we actually look then forward to 2018 to 2022-ish, I'm using ish timeframes here, then that's when other types of customer data platforms really came onto the scene. And this is really when, I'd say 2018 is really when customer data platforms were at their sort of biggest hype. So at that point, probably 100 different systems that you could go and choose from, all coming from, the marketing database world, now with user interfaces. You also had tag management solutions sort of starting to come in and starting to develop their platforms into, bringing in, other sources of first-party data as well. DMPs were CDPs, email marketing platforms become CDPs. E-commerce platforms, everything becomes a CDP, and suddenly there's a lot of confusion, even though there is still a lot of opportunity in what you can get from a CDP. But so I think the interesting thing in this window between 2018 and 2022 was really seeing the rise of CDPs moving more into customer journey orchestration. Yes, unified data, but really realizing that, unified data is great, but you need to be able to do stuff with it. And therefore, bringing in a sort of unified decisions layer. So unified data, unified decisions, and therefore unified customer experience was the goal. So although 2013 to 2018, it's very much about the data, 2018 to 2022, it's way more about actually coordinating that customer experience and that customer journey. So at this point, we still have the data warehouse sat with IT. However, since the previous times, they're now cloud-based. They're faster, they're more accessible. APIs have come on leaps and bounds in terms of security, speed, and performance. So suddenly the data warehouse is becoming interesting in terms of something that we could actually think about as, could that perform what we need here in terms of being that central single customer view? The customer data platform has moved from being a sort of data or, just focused on the data layer, and is now bringing in decisioning, and importantly as well, are now built for event-based scale. So all that digital data that's out there. And then because of the deprecation of third-party cookies that's been happening over time, DMPs are starting to be sunset or become end of life. So I've got a bit of a cross on DMPs because DMPs are going out, and obviously Chrome with its plans to deprecate third-party cookies this year as well. There's really more of a focus on how does a CDP, customer data platform, or data warehouse now support the acquisition use cases that we need. And yeah, so on the right hand side, is really like today onwards, or maybe even from last year. As I say, these timelines are loose, but really you start to see the data warehouse move into that kind of more prominent role, where it's taking all the data from those disconnected customer data silos. All that raw data being in the data warehouse, it's not unified profiles. So what you're starting to see now is, plugins for the data warehouse that will then do the standardization of the data, do some data cleansing, do some identity resolution to kind of build those profiles, and then output them to your channels. And hopefully, what you're starting to see here is that, okay, that's great, but we are still in a world where marketing is then in a siloed decisions world. So we're still replicating decisions across many platforms, and ultimately leading to what is not an optimal joined up customer experience. So hey, so there are these options. There's a lot of benefits there. I think if I think about so we're getting to the composable customer data platform world here, or warehouse native CDP, whatever you want to call it. It's about focusing on the data warehouse as being that place where you can actually have all that data with these plugins to then create what you need from a CDP. But remember, CDPs have now started to become more about journey orchestration, orchestrating the customer experience, and less of a focus just on the data. So I think, as I've demonstrated here, that yes, the data warehouse may be somewhere. I think, Richard, you're going to cover this in a bit more detail in a moment. But where the data warehouse sits there, you can then start to do some identity resolution coming out of it. But then you might actually need a CDP as well to then make sure that you have that centralized decisions. Okay, so yeah, that's really a sort of history through time of CDPs and marketing databases. As Kalina said, I've been in this industry since it started with various other companies. And so just wanted to share that with you.
Thanks, Anthony. And yeah, no, it's no wonder that the current situation is so complex, and it's completely, it's a struggle for businesses to really understand how those systems work and what is the difference between them, and what will be the benefit for their particular business. It's just such a complex development, and where we are is also quite interesting times. Yeah,
and it's just really focusing on the fact that it's not just unified data you need those unified decisions, if you want to be really, creating that experience. So hopefully it's been through,
Yeah. Great, thank you for this really extensive, great introduction. Richard, I think the floor is yours to take it and tell us all about the new category of composable CDPs and how they compare to, let's say, a bit more traditional CDPs.
Yeah, thanks, Kalina. So as I start talking, excuse me, about the difference between a composable CDP and, I'll call it a traditional CDP, but really I mean CDP in general, and you'll see me interchange that with a true CDP as my terminology goes through. I think it's a balancing act as we walk through the differences and what your organization may or may not need, because as well as the traditional CDP, the composable CDP, you'll also see me talk about the hybrid approach towards that as well. So I think it's clear, or what is clear, is that the CDP needs to be at the heart of marketing operations for aggregation, analyzing, activating customer data to drive those personal experiences to the full limit. I think as marketers, you understand the importance of harnessing that data to create meaningful connections with your customers. And when evaluating those CDP options, one of the primary considerations or drivers seems to be to center around the architecture and what it is technically that means to your business. Choosing a CDP or a composable, or even, as I said before, taking that hybrid approach. And that's what I want to cover over the next couple of slides. CDPs offer a prepackaged solution that encompasses a suite of features designed to address common marketing challenges. They tend to provide a turnkey approach that simplifies the implementation and reduces time to value for marketing. However, with some CDPs, this convenience can come at the cost of flexibility and customization. IT departments tend to find themselves constrained by the overall control of the platform, and they generally feel unable to adapt to evolving business ownership of their idea of the data. I think on the other hand, composable CDPs take a modular approach that empowers IT to assemble bespoke solutions tailored to their specific requirements. This flexibility tends to suggest that greater technical agility and scalability, allowing organizations that can to seamlessly integrate new technologies and adapt to changing marketing dynamics. However, the complexity of composable architecture may pose challenges in terms of implementation and ongoing maintenance. It requires a robust technical infrastructure and a skilled team to orchestrate the various components effectively for that to be successful. I think as we navigate through the decision-making process, it's essential to weigh up the pros and cons of each approach. The more traditional true CDP offers simplicity and ease of use, which is generally ideal for organizations seeking rapid deployment and minimal overhead with a view to a marketer's speed and agility. Whereas composable CDPs, on the other hand, tend to provide more flexibility and customization that caters towards perceived drivers or diverse technical needs of your organization, mainly from that IT perspective. And that's what I want us to balance out as we talk about, on one side, we talk about decisioning, the empowerment and being data ready. And on the right-hand side, we look at the integration, the agile, the agility of your data and this zero data copying buzzword that's going around right now. And we'll look into those in the next 2 slides. Okay, so if we look at the balance in respect to the way that the composable CDP has come to the forefront, traditionally, IT departments have played that crucial role in selecting and implementing and integrating that technology solution within organizations. And that's not just CDP, obviously it's everything. But when it comes to CDPs, IT often takes ownership of the platform, working alongside data warehouses to manage the technical aspects. And I think we saw that in Anthony's slides previously on how that's progressed over the years. In terms of, and what they're really focusing on is the data storage, being able to process that data and integrating that data with the many, many channels that are available to you as a marketing organization right now. In terms of data warehouses, they're really designed to cater to the needs of data analysts and technical users, but they provide that robust infrastructure and tools for performing those deep technical tasks such as data mining, complex analytics, and reporting within the organization. These systems tend to excel in handling large volumes of structured data, making them indispensable for the organization in this aim to derive actionable insights from all your data assets. We know that those data assets are huge across the organization. However, data warehouses are not optimized for campaign management and agile activation, which I think is key to a successful modern marketing. Marketers need a platform that enables them to orchestrate personalized campaigns and respond swiftly to customer interactions and iterate on strategies in real time. Composable CDPs offer an attractive alternative, providing a scalable, agile approach to customer data management. These platforms empower technical teams to control their data, leveraging modular components to build custom solutions tailored to their specific needs. And by decoupling the data storage, processing, and activation, composable CDPs enable greater flexibility and agility, allowing organizations to adapt to changing market demands in respect to how data is managed. However, I think it's essential to acknowledge the attraction of consolidating all data within a single source of truth. This centralized approach may seem appealing to technical departments, offering greater control and manageability of their customer data. Yet it's crucial to strike that balance between centralization and agility, and the aim should always be to try and achieve both. Okay, so if we jump back into the traditional or the true, and move the focus back towards that side of things, and really look at what the traditional CDP can bring to the table in addition to that, or as well as that. True CDPs have long championed their ability to empower marketers, enabling them to navigate the complexities of modern marketing with ease. These platforms are designed to streamline processes, allowing marketers to conduct their jobs at a pace that aligns with the ever-changing needs of their customers. One of the key advantages of CDPs lies in their ability to mitigate technical blockers that can hinder marketing activities. By abstracting away the complexities of data management and integration, these types of platforms can empower marketers to focus on what they do best, which is crafting compelling campaigns and driving meaningful engagement with their customers. Moreover, CDPs excel in non-technical segmentation and powerful journey orchestration, leveraging real-time data to deliver personalized experiences at scale. Additionally, the more traditional CDPs tend to offer a pragmatic approach to data management, recognizing the value of copying data or subsets of that data across multiple task-specific platforms. This practice not only ensures that the necessary data is readily available for activation, but also acts as a sort of cache, enhancing the agility and responsiveness of marketing campaigns. So, in essence, traditional CDPs provide marketers with the tools they need to succeed in today's fast-paced digital landscape by focusing on empowerment through non-technical segmentation and powerful journey orchestration. These platforms enable marketers to meet their goals effectively and drive business growth.
Okay, so the next couple of minutes, I want to talk about why evaluating CDPs is so damn hard. I think I'm allowed to say that. I'm actually going to be borrowing some slides here from a friend of mine, David Rav, who's the founder of the CDP Institute. Thank you, David, if you're listening to this at any point.
Maybe we'll send him the recording if he's afterwards. Yeah, I think he'll be great.
I'm sure he won't mind. But These are kind of the CDP Institute definitions of CDPs, right? So on the left, we've got the kind of pink red ones. So these are data focused. So if you remember from the beginning of the session, I've got my data layer, decisions layer, delivery layer. So these are very much focused on the data layer, joining up all the data, getting rid of the ETL processes. So you've got data, CDPs top left, and I would put composable CDPs in there as well. I kind of think they're probably the most comparable two choices, I think, that you would have. Then underneath that, so they fix the data problem. And then underneath that, you've got the analytics CDPs. So these are where you would be, providing business intelligence on top, or actually customer intelligence. Let's move away from business intelligence. This is customer insights based. So they both fix the data ETL headache, but this has some more advanced analytics. So lots of companies I speak to want to move away from GA at the moment, or from reliance on Google. So could be that you're using this analytics CDP to do your website analytics. Could be doing it for attribution purposes or building models, etc. So those over there are very much about the data. And then on the right hand side, I think the green ones, these are more about putting tools into the hands of marketeers that very much drag and drop, user interfaces that they trust and understand and know how to use. Less about coding, more about delivering revenue and marketing performance. So you've got delivery CDPs. So these are really born out of the delivery layer. So these are like email marketing platforms or multi-channel marketing automation solutions that have sort of acquired a CDP or built CDP capabilities inside. And then bottom right, campaign CDPs or orchestration CDPs, as I like to call them. And they were commonly built to connect to existing channels within your business. So your ESP, your app, your website, it would connect to those rather than replace them. But really there with that sort of decisioning engine to control the experience, whether that's online, offline, paid, owned, etc. So those are the kind of 4 core types. And again, I think David Raab from the CDP Institute was with us a couple of years back on a webinar, and again, I've stolen his slides here too because I think it explains things pretty well. And ultimately, that there's a CDP for everyone. So I think Kalina, you said it at the beginning. CDPs have as many differences as they do similarities, which makes it really difficult to make those choices. So this is kind of more thinking about what are your needs as a business. So, we start with the data stroke composable CDP option. This basically fixes the core definition of a CDP, which is that, you have a problem of delivering a single customer view to the business. You've got all those ETL headaches. This will fix that. So it'll unify the data and expose it to other systems. Now, if that is your problem and that's what you need, go buy a data CDP or a composable CDP. You just want to fix that issue. That's fine. Go do it. However, you might have an analytical requirement. Like I said earlier, maybe you want to move away from GA. Maybe your analytics isn't up to scratch. So maybe actually an analytics CDP is going to give you what you need and give you that better customer intelligence. If, however, you're focused on your direct marketing, you want to optimize your direct channels, to improve all your channels, a campaign CDP or an orchestration CDP could be the one for you. However, you might have all that covered, right? And actually, the only thing you need is to drive better data into those channels. So, you need to make that choice of whether the campaign CDP is necessary or not. It might be, but it might not be. And then you've got the delivery CDPs, so these were, if you remember, come from that delivery layer, the channel tools, so if you are focused on direct marketing and you want to, optimize your email, maybe your outbound channels, for example, go buy a delivery CDP, because you might be able to get 2, 3, or 4 of the channel of those channels included within that platform. So you can be multi-channel, you can deliver a connected experience. And then the final one there is sort of newer one, but operations CDP. And this is really when you're thinking about, if you're replacing your e-commerce platform, or, trying to do a better, obviously with e-commerce, there's so many different things that need to plug into that in terms of stock inventory and, everything that is maybe not always just marketing related. So that's why it's more operational. And I like to think about the delivery CDPs and the operations CDPs, these kind of e-commerce plays, as having CDP inside. These were platforms that, have either acquired or built some say CDP capabilities. Yeah. So I think that was quite a good way to sort of suggest, look, depending on where you are as a business, what your needs are, there is a CDP for everyone. And that's why it's so damn hard. Yeah, so we're coming towards the last section. I think me and Richard are sort of going to double team on this a bit, but this is quite exciting. It's a new 7-stage. We're calling it the Customer Data Excellence Ladder. Ultimately, what this is a pretty simple framework, but I think quite a powerful one. So it basically goes across 7 ascending stages of customer data maturity, and I think it's a great thing where you can actually sort of plot yourself on it, and it's all the way towards customer data excellence, right? Which is next best action, automated, personalized, across channels, omni-channel, some utopia that we're all trying to get to.
The dream.
Exactly.
Everyone's dream, yeah.
Exactly, but it all starts with a single customer view. So I'll kick things off. Really, step 1 here is for customer data excellence. This is the kind of core tenets of a CDP, right? Is to unify all that first-party data across the business, deliver the golden record or single customer view, whatever you want to call it. And so, it was all around first-party data. The use cases and capabilities that you kind of need in that are, identity resolution to create those unified profiles. It's all about data compliance and adhering with things like the GDPR or the CCPA and all the other. There's too many to list these days, all around the world in terms of data legislation, but also, access to that data by the systems or the people in the business that need it. And in the blue box there is really sort of explaining that this is something where marketing and IT or engineering, really need to kind of work together on this and decide, hey, is it the composable route that we need to go down? Is it a packaged CDP route? What are we starting to, what is it that we need to optimize further up this maturity ladder, which you'll see in a moment. But this is really, going back to my original slides, the data layer.
So I think on the next step of the ladder there, we start talking about how usable is that customer data in respect to once we've collected all that data and been able to do something with it. So we talk about the metrics of the data, and this is where things like your dashboards and your KPIs start coming to realization, and being able to enrich that data and really look at that data to see what it is. And this can be really pertinent so that when you're further up the ladder and you want to start feeding some of your journeys and your steps and your activation on reliable data, then it can come into play at that level as well. And this is where, again, it's a relationship between IT, engineering and marketing, because that makes sense of where the data lies at that point. And this allows you to lead up to the next level, Anthony.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, it's like, you got your unified data. Without that, you could go to an email team and say, hey, how many customers have we got? And they'll tell you an answer. You can go to the CRM team and they'll tell you a different answer. The e-commerce team tell you a different answer. So step 2 really about trustworthy insights about your customers, which the business can then rely on. Step 3 is where we start to get into more of the decisions side of things, and this is where marketing needs to be optimized, right? So step 3, 4, and 5 that you're going to see in a moment, you could probably swap these around quite easily, but it all depends on where your focus needs to be. I'm putting paid digital media optimization at step 3, right? So we've got a unified data layer. We now know, we understand our customers at a much more intimate level with great insights and trustworthy insights. Number 3, due to the fact that third-party cookies are going away, acquisition is going to get much harder just to stand still with it. This is the priority that as I see it right now. Now, it might not be for you. Direct channel optimization might be for you. But I would say right now, in the main, acquisition is under threat, digital acquisition. So this is all about being able to move third-party cookie use cases over to first-party data use cases as much as you possibly can, removing the reliance on third-party data, integrating with data clean rooms and all these new emerging things, ID graphs, being ready to cooperate with these things. Think about retargeting and the new privacy sandbox tools that are coming out for Chrome. All these things, are priority right now, and therefore step 3 is all about optimizing your acquisition and paid media.
And then I think on the next step, Anthony, the next logical step is around as it says, the direct channel optimization, being able to get that personalization out at the right level. So we've got all that data now and we can use that data, but we really want to be relevant to our customers and be able to sync that across not just one channel in silo, but we're starting to break away to multiple channels, and being able to get the right message at the right time to the right person or the right individual is really important.
Yeah, I mean, and your direct channels are under your control, right? So is your email, is your mobile app, you're under control of these. So you know what, maybe that does become 3, not 4 for you. If direct channel optimization is your focus, because you can control that, and you've got lots of knowledge and capabilities there, maybe that is the case. You know what, while paid media and acquisition is struggling, actually, if you make your direct channels work harder for you and extract more revenue from your customer data through that, then that's a logical choice to make. And as we get into step 5, that's really about owned media optimization is about outbound and inbound, right? And really thinking about conversion rate optimization. So this is making sure that inbound and outbound is all synchronized together. A seamless web to app experience, as an example, making sure loyalty points are integrated across all channels, inbound and outbound, maybe even including in store. Maybe it's about campaigns being halted because of something happening over here, in real time, to make sure that, you're not, sending an email about offers to someone who's just had their flight delayed, if you're an airline or travel marketeer or something like that. So, and starting to think about test and learn as well, in that much higher order state. So, this are the logical steps that we think you need to go through to get to really optimizing your owned channels.
And I think, Anton, on step 5 as well, if we look at the anonymous to known data relationship, we talk about that in respect to a ratio. You've got far more, or you generally have far more anonymous data than you do known data. So being able to activate on that is vital as well. Yeah,
no, you're absolutely right. Most teams we meet, they can recognize maybe 5% of their website traffic if they're doing well. So yeah, what can you do with that other 95%? Can you materially identify more and activate more? Yeah, it's a great use case we're seeing a lot of right now. Yeah.
And then I think in step 6, this is where we start bringing the customer experience really to fruition, which is kind of like where everybody wants to get to. Not necessarily an easy step to get there, but it's super important that we always have this vision in mind, that we want to treat our customers as individuals. And this is where the omni-channel orchestration starts coming in. So being able to interact with your customers in things like real time and be able to engage with them in the moment. So for example, if someone's making a booking on the website and we want to talk to them in the moment, we need to be talking about that intent that they're showing at that particular time. and really making it customer centric. I think that's a really good term to use there, because we want to focus on the individual customer and really get that messaging across.
Yeah, and I think what's important here is that this goes beyond marketing, right? So, you know, if you think about the whole customer journey, as much as we as marketeers like to think that we own the customer journey, you know, it extends beyond us. You know, so it's pretty, you know, and it goes beyond the tooling, right? So I think the biggest barrier to omnichannel is probably the silos that exist within businesses. You know, that you've got different marketing teams sat in different rooms, or maybe even in different countries and regions altogether. So that can often be a barrier here. But ultimately, you think about 3, 4, and 5 are about optimizing very specific parts of your strategy. 6 is about bringing all of that together, right, and making sure that it's all operating and and having the ability to orchestrate that as one. It's certainly no easy feat to get there. You know, it's not like you just go out and buy an omnichannel orchestration tool and in 9 months you're there. This, you know, the timeframes are perhaps not on this framework, but, you know, I'd say, you know, you need to be doing this in a logical way. There's no point in getting to omnichannel if you haven't optimized your own media, optimized your direct channels, and optimized your paid media. And the utopia, right? So step 7 is really that kind of, as I said, you know, it's fully automated, it's next best action, it's, you know, using AI models and machine learning and, you know, understanding every touch point along that journey. Again, you know, you don't go buy that and get there in 9 months, you know, but this could be part of a sort of much wider, bigger digital marketing transformation to get to that point. What I would say though is that when you are going out to market to look at CDPs, I think, you know, what you know, depending on what type of CDP it is, you know, you're they're probably talking to you about number 7, when the reality is that what they're doing is giving you number 1 and the ability to get there. So, you know, although you're buying the dream, you know, you have to be very kind of practical about you know, what you need the CDP to do for you. So. And the last thing I would say on this is that omnichannel orchestration is an important step 6 before you get to 7. The reason for that is that if you start creating predictive models for churn, for conversion, for predicting all these different things, you need to be able to arbitrate what's going on there and making sure that customers aren't falling into competing models, you know. So omnichannel orchestration is really there to be that arbitration of what's happening at step 7. And that's why it's a very kind of key step before you start letting AI models out into the wild to control that experience. So, and it's probably a much higher, different skill set in marketing, I would say as well. So once you get to 7, it's more about, you know, tweaking models, you know, assessing those, and it's a very different type of marketing once you get to that point. Okay.
Yeah, so for everyone who asked, we will send the recording and the slides afterwards. So yeah, you can take a screenshot now, but also equally you'll be able to see actually better the details in the recording afterwards.
Right.
So I'm being mindful of the time that we have. Before we move on to the last part, we have some questions, and we did receive quite a few questions, and we'll try to answer a few of those in the time that we have today. So I'm going to pull a couple of questions, starting with, so the first one we got was actually at the moment when you, Anthony, was talking about the deprecation of third-party cookies, which you mentioned in one of the slides. So the question is Google actually getting rid of the cookies, or will it be delayed again? So
okay.
A different question, but maybe because you mentioned that it was... It triggered something, a relevant discussion at the moment.
Yeah, you know, I think we as a business are becoming synonymous with, you know, the cookieless world and solutions for that. So, you know, but yeah, so a bit off the topic. However, I think, you know, it's a very relevant question that we're all having. And if I go back to that excellence ladder, you know, why I'm prioritizing at step 3 that you go and look at your acquisition marketing. So look, I mean, I was actually on a meeting with Google Privacy Sandbox yesterday. You know, and they're coming to an event that we're doing next week. So, you know, the timelines are still there. They're still working towards the timelines. I don't think there is a concrete, when I think the exact wording is that Chrome is going to start full sunsetting from Q4, right? It's not explicit what that timeline is, whether that is actually going to be completed in 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 12 months.
Yeah.
What we do know is it is coming. It will come. There are some, the CMA and the IAB are, providing some insights, some positive, some negative. So we will see. But what we do know is that it's coming, right? So yeah, hopefully that kind of answers a bit. What I would say though is, focus on it now, right? And like I said, step 3 in that excellence ladder. If you're not focused on that right now, please go do it. So we at Relay 42, we're doing a lot with our own customers. We have a new cookieless world program we launched in January. Running some tests, trying to convert third-party cookie use cases over. So, there's a ton of great content on our website about that, of course. But yeah, that should be the focus.
Yeah, and we get a lot of questions also from our customers, and we see that it takes time as well.
Yeah.
All right, we have time for 2 more questions. So one following question is: we don't have much customer data, and my responsibility is on acquisition. Is CDP even the right solution? Ooh.
Yeah. Okay.
For Anthony.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm just looking at that person's brand. I think you probably have more customer data than you think. We talked about anonymous. I don't know what your website traffic is, but I imagine it's quite big. How many of those are logging in? And if they're not logging in, all those visitors, that is customer data that you could be leveraging. So I think about where is data that I don't know. Just think about customer data slightly differently. Granted, if you don't have any customer data, a customer data platform is probably not going to provide much value. But I do think, whereas if you remember the beginning of the webinar, maybe we're talking about marketing databases being for known customers. The fact that there is all this kind of event data happening around us that perhaps we're not harnessing. CDPs can actually do a lot there, actually building profiles of anonymous website visitors over time, rather than just thinking about this is Anthony and all the clicks and websites and transactions that I've done. Actually, you don't know me, and I'm actually visiting you a lot. Building a profile of me before you know me can be actually quite powerful as well, particularly in acquisition. So, yeah.
Yeah. Clear. And one last question, which I think might be actually for Richard. So how do I prioritize the type of CDP that's right for my company? Okay,
great question. Thanks, Kalina.
Yeah, I thought it would be the right one for this particular one.
I think if this really links back to Anthony's earlier statement as to why choosing a CDP is so damn hard. We know as a vendor, it's not easy. I have conversations about this on almost a daily basis. I think it also falls down to the maturity of the data operations in your organization, and about your priorities. I think your priorities are key in deciding this. There's 2 decisions. You can look at where you are in the ladder that Anthony showed in the previous slide, and decide where you are in that in terms of your own journey, or you can look at that where you are and then try and judge where you want to be as well, because it's not just about where you are today, it's also where you want to be in the future. So for example, if optimization of paid media and acquisition is one of your key priorities, then you've got to be looking for something like a real-time CDP that's got unified decisioning and really focus on that kind of area. On the other hand, if you're looking at something that is necessary to optimize your direct marketing, then perhaps a delivery CDP that's got integrated channels is more in line with what you're looking at today. But what I would say is don't forget about the future, because I think that's vitally important as well. Yeah, I think that's my answer.
Yeah,
I think you're right. Spot on. Look at that excellence ladder. I think you said it spot on there, Richard. If you want to go and optimize your direct channels, go get a delivery CDP, because you know what? It's going to connect them all together into one workflow, marketing automation workflow, and you're going to do a much better job there. So if that's what you need to do today, go buy that. But remember, if you have aspirations for the future, it might be that platform doesn't get you there. But hey, that's okay. If you get 3 years of value, fine.
Yeah, and I also think in addition to that, Anthony, I think that if you consider POCs as part of the process as well, which is something that I've seen more and more come to fruition, but it's been really successful in identifying what the customer needs to do today, where we can take them tomorrow, and really giving the customer that ease that this is the right solution for them. So don't shy away from asking for POCs. That would be my one recommendation.
Proof of concepts, right? So that could be a great way to sort of work with a vendor for 3 months, work on some short-term use cases, I guess, and exactly. I think if you can do that, it de-risks your investment. So
and it also makes it less of a daunting project going into a CDP for a year or sometimes longer, right? You can just try for a little bit, see if it's a match with the requirements, with the use cases, even with the team and way of working.
I mean, go build some anonymous profiles from your website, right, and then go use that to activate them in retargeting and personalize the website. Whatever, that can be. That's one we're seeing loads of right now, right? And that I think is a real killer thing that you could go off and do in a POC, see some value, and then go from there.
Yeah, great. So I think our time here is actually running out. So thank you for answering those questions. Thanks everyone who asked the questions. If we haven't managed to answer a question of yours, we'll go back after the webinar and we're going to reach out personally. For now, just the one closing note, we'll be sending the recording of the webinar, and in this, we're going to add a complimentary ebook. It's the ebook we wrote about marketing teams looking for a CDP, which is very helpful tool to use. So be on the lookout for that one. And with this, I think we can close today's session. Thank you to our speakers. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Anthony, for sharing your insights. Thanks, everyone. Feel free to reach out to us, to Anthony, to Richard, or just through the website. Hope to see you next time. Have a nice day.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.